Another case, the people told me they were having mice in their apartment and that the screens were torn apart. They'd called the landlord once a week for about 3 or 4 weeks. The landlord promised he'd come out. He never showed up. They finally threatened to hold back the rent on him. He got mad and said, well, if you just don't like it, buy a cat to get rid of the mice and buy your own screen because I'm not fixing it. Mm-hmm. Now, I figured, maybe this guy is like this with everybody, but I figured there's a language barrier. They can't really explain to him. Who do they go to complain to? They don't know how to fill out forms to complain to the commission here in Bloomington. So they come to us. So these are just some of the small things that I noticed. I end up speaking with the landlord, and, it's almost like you have to threaten them by saying, well, I will go to City Hall. I will file the complaint on behalf of these people. And then they go out there and they do it. It should never come down to that need, but I guess in this society, people just prey on other people, especially when you don't know the language. But that's another reason why I tell the Hispanics, if you've been here 3 years, you need to learn the language. That's the biggest drawback. So it's a give and take. Stories from court, a lot of times they go to court, and the court here in McLean County is very good about providing an interpreter. They don't hesitate to get an interpreter. But sometimes even going to court and explaining in layman's terms to the client what the state's attorney is saying, sometimes they speak in a language that is above them. So as I repeat to them in Spanish what they're saying, they don't understand it. Sometimes they just nod their head, yes. And then I say, no, do you understand what I said? That's why I'm here. If you don't, please say so. And they say, well, I didn't understand everything. So that's why I tell my interpreters, sometimes you have to bring it down another notch to make sure. And by that, and I don't mean to offend them, but you have to speak in simple words. Because a lot of them come from these small towns that are like little villages. They still have dirt roads. Some of them have dirt houses. They went to the 3rd grade. So it's essential that you make sure that when you walk out of that interpretation session, that client, whether it's medical or legal, understands everything you said. Yeah, we offer English classes on Mondays and Wednesdays, twice a week. Our teachers are bilingual, and we don't teach grammar. What we teach is phrases, sentences. My child is, and then from there they can say, my child is happy, my child is ill, my child is sick, my child has vomited. With that one phrase, you can say so many things. To get around town, a lot of them cannot drive because they don't have licenses. We try to teach them the phrase, does this bus go to? Then they can fill it in. Normal, Broman, the mall, Green Street. So that's what we try to teach them, is a phrase they can learn when they walk out of class. They can start using it the next day. Because since a lot of them never had a lot of schooling, to teach them grammar would be ridiculous. You just see, it wouldn't work out. So we try to do this. If they can, we tell them, if you can learn 2 sentences each week in 1 year, that's 52 sentences, 102 sentences, your life would change dramatically, because now you're not dependent on other people. But unfortunately, I don't know what it is, if it's because they can't drive to get some of the sessions, because there's a lot of English classes offered in a lot of the churches. English is a second language. But a lot of the Hispanics say, well, the teachers don't speak Spanish, so we can't ask them, why did you say it this way? What do you mean by that word? So when they come here, we always ask them, what do you want to know? What do you want to learn? Sometimes we'll say, how do you tell your boss you're going to be late for work? Or, I'm sorry that I was late, and explain to them what happened. So we try to take it sentence by sentence and teach them a lot of the basic things they would need, especially if they have to go to a doctor and there's not an interpreter available. I said, or if they were going to the store, we, instead of saying, how much does this cost, we just tell them, point to it and say how much. Everybody understands this. So we try to make everything simplified when we teach them the English sentences and phrases that they're going to learn.